back to another episode of SNG. We got a lot to do this week, building a bridge for the Enterprise and a Formula One car and a bunch of other cool stuff. So let's get on with the show. So I get home and I find a package sitting outside. Who do you think it's from, Mary?
This plastic?
Yeah, well, from Elliot Brown, the man. This is for the Enterprise, and this is why Elliot, if he'll send me a picture of himself or something. Well, he's certainly going to go on the plaque. He's been a major contributor to everything SNG. Am I zoomed in? No, I'm zoomed. Oh, I'm right. Okay. Got some good rubber bands too. Thanks. I've been needing those. And here we got. Oh boy. We have.
Wow! Look at that. That's brass.
Well, yeah. Let's take it in some light here, and they'll start to recognize what it is. What you're looking at there is, and there are more parts coming tomorrow. Oh, that's hot.
That's
okay.
hot. Don't do that.
Okay, I'll put it in the light here. That's the bridge. Yep, that's the bridge of the Enterprise. Some chairs. Well, not chairs, but tables. To go in some of the, see how those fold down? It becomes a whole table right there. Thank you, Elliot, for the different rooms. Of course, there's the base for the bridge. I guess that's the top, the bottom. He's sending me some instructions. You can recognize those. There's the screens. The clear stuff will go into those open ones there, and we'll have I'm going to poke little holes in there and put some fiber optics in there for the buttons to be lit up. And of course there's the helm. This is really cool, Elliot. Thank you so much. And I'm assuming that this is more parts for the bridge. They're all marked, but I have the wrong glasses on right now. Let's see. Steve Neill's half scale. Okay. What's this? Subdeck. And for alignment. This is deck top. Okay, very good. This is going to be great. Thank you so much, Elliot. And tomorrow, of course, we will show the rest of it when it gets here. Terrific. Can't wait to see the instructions, too. It'll be helpful. Okay. Oh, that's the overhead lighting. Very cool. And these go all around the base. There's those little glowing screens that go underneath these. Yeah, I'm figuring it out. Okay, this is very exciting. This is what we're going to be putting together next week for fun. And it will be. Well, I said I'd get this little plane to work, and I did. It had a lot of problems. It turned out the connector was bad that came with it to operate both of these servos, which are now fine. Okay? We had a bad servo for an elevator servo. I found another one I had here, the right size, and an adapter for it, but unfortunately, the servo's got some funny glitching going on. See? And we don't want to take chances with that. It'll shut up in a minute. And then it'll be fine. But no way I'm taking chances with me. Now it's fine. I'm not taking chances with that elevator. You know, for a $5 servo, I'll order another one. Everything fit really clean in here. I've got an ultra micro AR Spectrum receiver up in there. It's one of those little tiny micro ones that fit just perfect. The battery I originally purchased for it, I had to put a tongue on that because it wasn't really holding it well. The whole model's very, very sanitary and nice. And amazingly, on just a 2S pack, this thing goes. I mean, that's, here, I'll set it down because it almost went off the table. Where is it? Where is it? There it is, right in front of me. Okay, here we go. That is a lot of power in this little tiny jet. So this will obviously fly and fly well. I'm very pleased I was able to get this little Alpha Jet all working. I bought it, oh geez, it'll be 3 years ago, I think in November, and it just sat and sat because of what was going on with my late wife. We're going to build this Formula One Cooper from the 60s. We've been talking about this for a while. This is one of Chris Wright's beautiful, and I mean beautiful, frames for a 1/32 scale Formula car, racing car. And, you know, I mean, well, here we've got a Scalextric Lotus. And you can see how these are built, and they're very nicely built. Unfortunately, a lot of the plastic bits break off very easily, and this car has had a lot of racing done, and it's still hanging in there. And this is going to be approximately the same size, a little bit older car. And getting the scale right actually wasn't too terribly difficult, because I really need to scale this to the plans need to be scaled to the exact centers where the hubs will go, where the axles will go for the car. And you can see this is a pretty good matchup. When you scale this up to fit these exactly in alignment, the tires are going to be sticking out just a little wee bit more, but not a whole lot. So this is pretty true. We're going to get a nice scale looking car here. This frame fits it rather well. It took a while to get that, and then after I started using my brain correctly, because after all, this Monday, I used my calipers, and I took an exact reading from here to here, and then I went into Photoshop and I enlarged this so that these 2 points would match, and then I got my scale. Now, there will be some of you absolute total addicts out there say, well, then that means that the Cooper isn't exactly 1/32 scale because it's being sized to this frame. But I have to say, what would you have me do? I have to match it to this frame, or make my own frame, and I think for the minuscule amount that we'll be off, that this is going to be far superior. And you will buy Chris's frames if you purchase one of these body kits, and use this, because these are really beautiful, and you can see the pictures going by right now as I'm talking to show you how beautiful that frame is when it's all assembled. So what we're going to do is basically dry assemble this pretty much, and I'm going to start, well, what I can do now is actually take these cross sections and go in Photoshop and separate these out, and I'm going to make up some templates, and probably out of styrene, and we're going to use some soft pink foam, and we're going to carve this shape up. Okay, fun at Photoshop, and which is really helpful. Everything, as you know, is the right scale. I've taken these and printed them off, so actually I will have a side view, and the side view tells me where like this is one, it goes there, and I believe this one is 2, and it goes there, and this is 3, I believe, and it goes there, and then 4, and so on. And we're going to get a very interesting form from this, because there's not many formers here to suggest its actual shape, but enough information that I can extrapolate the rest and be able to kind of eyeball it, as I'm good at, since I am a sculptor. I can also do technical sculpting as well. It's really very much the same thing. In other words, you gotta have a good eye for it. But I think I can do this. I've done plenty of boats, submarines, and airplanes, so let's see how I do. Very small scale. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna attach these to some styrene and cut the styrene out and sand it right to these edges here. And then I'm going to cut out a styrene profile as well, and I'm going to attach these to the right locations. I was going to hot wire cut it, but I don't think at this size that's really going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to literally saw, cut, and sand to the formers the right shapes. Now there is no former for the very front, but that's not a problem. I do have this shape here, so I'll be able to make a little former, put it at center, and get that round shape. Then we got to flip it over to the other side, but that's basically my plan. This is kind of a shot in the dark, but let's see how I do. So here we have the profile, and I drew lines through at the actual locations for the formers, and now, and this is completely cut out, and over here we have our formers themselves that I'm about to cut out, and then I'm going to add these formers to this side here, and I'm going to make a little former from this and stick it right here, and we're going to carve this. I'm also going to make a former from that, and that'll allow me to, since there's a nice line right down the middle, put that on there, and that should give us 90% of our shape, although when I cut this whole area here will have to be carved out by hand. I left the dashboard in there, which I shouldn't have done, but this should be able to carve out pretty well. And by the way, I didn't show this in case some of you slot car fans out there, racing fans, want to know where you can find one of these. This is where I got mine, and Beer Dog is, of course, Chris Wright's company name, or name for making these beautiful frames. So what you see here is what we're going to put foam in between, and as you look down it, you can see the shape of the car. So the next thing we're going to do is put some blocks of foam between there. We're going to tack this down to something that'll keep it nice and stiff, and we're going to try to carve this. So what I did is I traced out with this former on the pink foam the shape, and then cut it exactly on those lines, because the thickness of the blade is equal to that of the styrene that's our formers, and I'm going to place it foam between these blocks. Now I know what a lot of you are thinking, Steve, why don't you just get this printed? Okay, so guess what, I'll sit at the computer for a while, I get the AutoCAD program out, and I'll shape the whole thing out of that and send it to some guy, and he'll send me back a finished form basically that I can detail and make a mold off of. Well, that's great, but you know what, I really like hands-on. Just like what Mary's doing over there, painting. You know, it's something about having the skills and the craftsmanship to be able to make something by hand that just, I'm really not interested in doing it with a printer. Now, granted, if I had a printer here, I would use it for lots of small parts and things that I need. But for doing something like this, it's really an art form, and I really like hand shaping a form. I've done that with boats and submarines and airplanes. You've seen me do it. So that's why I'm doing it this way, and this is old school, no printers, all by hand, and you're going to see how this is done, because a lot of you out there either can't afford a printer, aren't interested in a printer, or want to do stuff this way. You can do props this way. This is the gateway to making anything. So keep watching and you'll get it. So I'm going to do a little spray adhesive on this foam. It does make it kind of dissolve, but a little bit is all we really need. And then probably a little bit on this too. I'm holding it out of frame because I don't want to get it all over the plastic there. So with a little bit of that on there, now I can fit this piece right down here. Slide it around so it's even right to the cut. Push those up, and we've got the first part in. And I'm going to do this for every section. Assuming this is the right direction because I flipped that around, so you have to be careful of. Okay, that's in there. I'm going to get this piece on here, which hopefully does fit in between there. Sometimes you'll find it does not, so you want to do a little flat sanding. Take off some of the thickness. Yes, it will. I'm going to take a little more off. And then we're going to spray on that. Let's be blowing it off. And like that, like that. We got way too much foam here, but that's okay because this is going to work out just fine. And then the last piece is this one, which goes back here. Now, I bet you that's pretty thick, so I'm going to do that. Like so, and then that piece goes in here. A little bit on the back there because I'm about to lose that former. Yeah, I'm losing that former. And we're on there like that. Pretty much does it. And now we've got our whole foam there. And now what I'm going to do is sand or carve down and then sand to the actual former. Now, since the styrene is much harder than the foam, I won't affect too much damage to the formers. So now I'm doing the really fun, cool part and groovy part of all this. If I can, there. I don't like upside down monitors, but I don't have much choice. That makes it easier. So what I'm going to do is just sort of sand this down to the formers. And you can't see much there because I'm blocking it, I understand, but you will see how this all works, and it starts looking like a car body. I don't really know how much you're seeing here with my blocking it, but you're still kind of watching it happen. Getting down there to the former, I can just see it. Easy to get down to the formers this way, which are right on the edge there, I'm seeing. And there, let's see, you can see the former starting to appear. Then you know you're there. Now all you have to do is do this on the other side tomorrow, and we'll have a full car body, shape, form, plug, whatever you like to call it. But I'm going to use a sanding sponge next. Good progress for today, and you know, after I took a sanding sponge to this, you can see that that fits very, very well over that form. So we know we're in the right, we're in the ballpark to getting this shape already. This really worked out very, very well. I'm very pleased with it, and we're going to do the other side tomorrow so we have the complete car body. Then of course I'll fiberglass it with some thin 1-ounce cloth, and then start using the Evercoat metal glaze to sharpen that up and sharpen it up really good, and so that we can get everything really contoured well. But as you can see clearly, it's already shaping up really well. I am so pleased with this. So something I haven't done this before, but again, this is one of the pleasures of doing stuff by hand. This will look as good as if you've done it on a printer, except you can say, hey, I made that. Oh, here. You can say, hey, I made that with my hands. So, on to side two. What we got to do for side two is cut some more formers, which I did. Little black guy up there is for the nose. See the nose? Yeah, that little black guy down there is for the aft section. That's T. And I've just cut up the blocks from a solid piece of foam. One of you asked if this was wren shape. No, it's foam. I don't have any wren shape. If I did, it would be ideal for this, but I don't. So this is going to work just as well. And for those of you who can't get wren shape or don't want to spend the money, the pink foam works pretty good, as you will see as we follow along. So what I'm going to do now is turn this over and glue all these formers to match these formers, and then stick the blocks in and then sand again. So there's all the blocks and how they fit in. You can see. I'm showing you all this so that you'll pick this up, because some of you don't know about it, and you can make any kind of form or shape you want using this technique. That is, as long as you have a 3-view. Maybe at the very least that's all you have, and you don't have the formers like this, which I was fortunate that Chris sent me this with the formers in there, because that's a big help. Otherwise, you got to figure that out on your own. There are ways to do it, but this is better. The other thing you can do is, let's say you have a plastic model, and you want to make a bigger version of it, like I've done a lot for airplanes, not that one, and not that one. But in general, when I've made model airplanes, I would take a plastic model kit and cut it up into sections, do tracings, and then enlarge it to the scale I wanted and produce a much bigger object that way. And you can do that with all kinds of stuff. Now I cut down the foam on the bandsaw right to the edge, pretty much to the edge of the formers, and now the rest is just to sand it to shape. Now we have our basic body shape, and I'm going to go in some balsa fill, which is a white spackle kind of stuff, and shape it a little bit more with that stuff, and then we're going to put a coating on this of polyurethane foam and very thin fiberglass cloth, and this will get us the beginning of our plug. This is the balsa fill putty on here, and this stuff sands really easy. It fills in all the cracks and everything, and I figured I'd put some of that on there first over the foam and dry it out in the oven and then sand it down again. Most of it will be removed, but it will hold on to everything. And just so you know what this stuff is, it comes in balsa colored, or it comes in white, and Hobbyco makes it, and there's another company that makes it as well. Then, since I have no epoxy kicker for my part 2 for the epoxy resin I had, I thought to myself, well, maybe just some 2-part polyurethane and a brush will do the job. This is about to go off, but I wanted to see if it would attack the foam. It shouldn't, because the foam is polyurethane, and the resin itself is a 2-part polyurethane. So they really should not react to each other, and they should support each other pretty well. And this is starting to go off. So far so good with it not eating the foam. Now this stuff sands very easily, but this will give me a nice, as you can see, coating on there. And when that goes off, I can sand that down, fill it, manhandle it. It will be very stiff, and unlike epoxy, this will be done and ready to work with within the next 30 minutes. So here's our little test, and this is 2-part polyurethane resin on some 1-ounce cloth. And I mean, that's really strong, and what's really cool about it too is I can sand it so easily. Well, here I thought I was showing you sanding this, and actually it wasn't recording, but that's okay. I'll do it again. You can see, there we go, that, and I'm going to do this a little bit. And that is a lovely surface, very strong, very flat. If I was to putty this, I could get it absolutely perfect, and so I know that I'm safe now to put this on the car body form, and now we can really work on it. Because what I've done up to this point is use that balsa fill and sanded, and it's pretty good, but I can't get it perfect, not like I want. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and cover it, and then use the Evercoat metal glaze, and that I can really manhandle the stuff with. But it's pretty good. It's really not that bad. It's certainly a good start. Okay, so what I've done here is I put a little bit of spray adhesive, and I mean just a little bit, so I can really stretch this stuff down, this 1-ounce cloth over this, and what I'm going to do is put the resin on it next. And just in case you were wondering, I used GM Super 77 multi-purpose adhesive. It's a spray adhesive. This is the one I prefer. So we got our 2-part polyurethane. I made up a lot of it, 20 grams, both sides. I mean both halves, but sometimes you make it up really just a tiny bit. It doesn't want to go off, so you gotta really mix this stuff. I'm gonna mix it up, and with the brush, And we don't need a lot on here. So I'm just going to kind of coat it. Like so. You can see it all soaking in there rather nicely. And I should have had this on some kind of a peg or something so I could get underneath it without doing what I'm doing right now. But this will also work. So. You don't have a lot of working time with this stuff. This is fast setting polyurethane I got from Berman's. I usually use Alumilite. I tried this out because it was a little less money and I like supporting my local businesses, and I've been supporting and buying my materials at the Berman's for many years, and I like the people there. And the stuff is almost as good, not quite. It's very good. It's fine. It has some different properties to it, but should give us a really nice form. And there it goes. And we're going to have a lot of residue under here, but this stuff sands so easily it really shouldn't be a problem. So we'll let that set up a bit, and then we'll sand it. So a bunch of Evercoat metal glaze on it after I got through sanding it, the white stuff down. And now I can go over this some more, sand this down, and we fill all the nooks and crannies and valleys and even everything out. Many moons ago. And you can see now how we're getting a really nice contour and a nice even surface. Nice. We're going to come back, take a look at this when I'm all done sanding. So we are getting there. This is now got some Evercoat on it. It's been sanded. This has to be really shaped up, of course. Well, all of it's got to be shaped up, but the basic body and basic shapes are all there. And of course, it is the right size, the right scale, the right contour. It looks correct from the back. Just like you can see, like, you know, that's uneven there. No problem. I'm just going to take a little sandpaper there. And we'll round it up some more. It's just going to take a lot of preening there and eye spotting, but just for the rough, and it's really hard, easy to work on, easy to get in the shape we want now without worrying about the foam being too soft or something melting it. Let me get this top here a little better. We're off to a good start. Now I can really, that's nice and smooth, I can really get in there and start making this car body. Talk about support. Elliot Brown, my dear friend Elliot Brown, and Mary's too, sent us all of these brass parts that he made. Now, this is the bridge. These are the overheads lights for the bridge. Actually, no, these are the grills that are at the feet of all the consoles. These are the overhead lights. The comm, you can recognize a lot of things, the girders and stuff that support the different structures, the main base of the bridge. Over here we've got the steps, we've got more of the supports, and on this one we have a shovel that I can't wait to put together. It all folds and goes together, and he even included, it looks like, the nacelles, or I'm going to have to make some kind of nacelle for it, which shouldn't be too hard. He's also done a bunch of people that we can have that'll be backlit, and these are more of the windows, as he called the poster, the 60s poster windows that go all around the bridge. So here's all the parts for the bridge, and we're going to start assembling this tomorrow. We're going to start bit by bit putting this together, and of course this will all be lit up and you'll be able to see it right inside here. Back to work on this little bitty model. One of the first things I want to do is, I took a look straight down at the top. I want to get the cockpit area exactly shaped. And since there's a top view, it was easy to do. Make a cutout pattern, make a piece out of styrene. I want to sink it down pretty deep because we're hoping we're going to get one of Mark Tyler's wonderful pilots inside. Pilots, flying, racing, it's very similar. But I want to get something like this in there, so I need to be fairly deep down. And now looking at this, I'm seeing I need to be deeper still, but for the sake of the mold, I don't want to go any deeper in this. The modeler can always cut this out and sink down in the cockpit I'm going to make, and Mark's driver, which I hope he's going to do. Of course, he probably has them already that'll fit in there. So I need to have that recess in this exact shape here. There's no dashboard yet. That will be separately added, I believe, as it is with the Scale electric car, as a separate piece that will go underneath, along with the windshield and everything else. So a lot to figure out here. As simple as it seems, it's never that simple. So I do not want to use Evercoat metal glaze because I have exposed polyurethane foam down here, and polyester resin will attack it. So what I'm going to use instead is epoxy, which is wonderful stuff. It takes a long time to set up, a couple hours or so, but this will not do that, and I have greater control. Using epoxy sculpt, this great stuff, two-part epoxy putty, basically. It's like plumber's putty, and that does work, but this stuff takes a lot longer to set up. You have more working time, and it gives you a chance to point up stuff quite well that you can sand very easily afterwards as well. So keep in mind there's no dashboard there, but the cockpit is at a pretty equal depth now as to where I like it, and I dug out the foam on the front to get the opening there for the oil cooler. I'm assuming that's what that's for. And of course this is going to be for the differential to be seen for the transmission. Or I think actually that is the transmission, and the differential is closer to the axles. But basically I've dug out the foam there, and now I'm going to just take some of this stuff here. No tripod, sorry. You don't always need a tripod, do you, Mary? I'm going to stick some of this epoxy sculpt in it. You can see the consistency of it. It's just like clay, which is very handy for me because I'm a sculptor. I'm going to take a real sophisticated tool like this pencil, and I'm going to go in there and start poking around, and then in a second here you'll see I have a really nice smooth interior in there. I have sculpting tools too, but this was handy. But that's basically what I'm going to do, is I'm going to go in there and make that look pretty nice. It's going to be cut out anyway eventually to actually put the end of the transmission in here that I'll have to also make, I suppose, scratch build. But this will give you the idea of what I'm doing. And just so you know, get all this stuff done first because it's pretty important, and then even everything out. So this is what I got done so far. Of course, we got the cockpit interior going. We've got that going. We got that going, and this is as far as I can go for right now because I've got to let this epoxy to set up before I can do anything more. And what I'm going to do, of course, is do some more sanding, and then with the Evercoat metal glaze, I'm going to even all this up and start getting the body just perfectly symmetrical and balanced. It's pretty good right now. It's a little off, not really bad, nothing I can't fix quite easily, and then I'll be able to start primering it, and then we start in with the panel lines and all that stuff. And once we get all that done, then of course I got to figure out the seat and the, the dashboard. I'm gonna need a steering wheel from somewhere, but bit by bit. So over here, we're going to start on Elliott Brown's wonderful bridge. And as you can see, he's done instructions here, or at least a description of what I have here and how it should go together. Elliott himself has never dry fit one of these, so he's telling me you're going to be the guinea pig. But should you get hold of a 1/350 size Enterprise E, I mean 1/350, a 66-inch Enterprise, then you would either be getting one from Jim Key or myself, and you might need this. So these are the structures that, well, here, this is what these are for, and I got upside down. You can see, couldn't figure this out either. I love it. Light Cove. Elliott, no one's going to see underneath there, but this, of course, is the panel. This is the other panel. This is where the 60s style posters, backlit panels go, and then the lighting panel. So I have to go through and cut all those out. It's going to be a puzzle. I got to figure it out. He's got some description here how I might put this stuff together. So we're going to kind of start somewhere, probably with these panels here, and getting them to go in here or something like that. We have these panels down here as well to support the subdeck. So let's just get in here and start jamming parts together and see what happens. So here we go. Let's take a dive into Elliott's stuff here. Now, he's told me all kinds of great things in these instructions that I actually read first this time. See, this is without cover lights. This is with cove lights, not cover lights. Now, I know I don't have the right blades here, but this brass is so thin, it's really easy to just cut through like that. And you notice I'm doing it on glass, and this is for you sports fans who don't know about cutting PE. The best way to do it is to do it on glass, because you won't bend the brass. It's pretty thin, and you can cut through it really easy, as you see I'm doing. I'm assuming I'm in frame. Oh yes, I'm wonderfully in frame. As you might well imagine, this is Crazy Farm stuff, and I'm already going madly giggly, but I hope I'm doing this right, Elliott. I assume I'm doing it right. I've read all your documentation, which makes complete and utter sense to me. That's the problem. And we're sliding these little guys right in there where they're supposed to go. And first couple times was definitely trying. Some of these did not slot all the way through, so whereas the other ones went really easy, these are not going on so easy. So I'm using a pair of oh, I forget what these are called. To do this now, which is working better. This stuff, even without kicker, just goes off so quickly. Something about contact with the brass that really does it. Makes it go off quickly, which is why CA is recommended for doing this. A couple of these did not have all the notch for the view screens, just for the panel, so I had to pull off using those. Hopefully you gave me extra. Like, these are going on very easily now that I to, if you start having a problem with this, walk away, take a walk, have a cup of tea, do something, because you can easily start shaking and messing up. Right, Elliot? Now you're watching right now going, oh my God, what have I done to poor Steve? Well, I wanted to preach in this spot, and I had to open my big mouth. So, but we did manage to get all those on, Elliot. We are through the first phase of this. Now, I'm going to go ahead, like I said, and put a lot of extra glue around this, because you're not going to see this part anyway. This is structure, and we want to make sure this is really strong, because I'm going to be wailing on it pretty soon with other parts, and I won't want these coming loose. Well, getting a little bit done there, bit by bit by bit. You can see the screens that go up over here. We've got the ones that are underneath here that glow by the feet. We've got when the light hits it just right, you can see the panels. And Elliot, it's all fitting together pretty darn good. You know, it's really, really quite nice. It's going to light up well. And yes, all you do is a lot of tulip, but you basically have to get in there and tweak and bend and bend. I've only got this one side sort of done, and I've got another one here, and these two here you gave me. So I'll be able to go in there and finish this off pretty well. I think the rest of it's going to go a lot easier now. All right, let's take a look at what it looks like inside of the bridge. And here we can see, in there, we can see pretty well the panels and stuff. You can't see, yeah, you can see those lights underneath. You can see the overheads. There's going to be that ring in there, which, like you said, hides all the sins. You can see how the turbo lift is over here when it's actually supposed to be there. I am not going to address that, because that was something they messed up in the real show, so we're going to leave it like that. I mean, I suppose I could adjust it, but I'm not going to, but that looks pretty neat. And here it is out of there by itself for right now. Of course, this ring's going to go on top. I have to do the other side too, but it really is working out quite well. And, you know, Elliot, heck, you do a good job. Okay, we are still here on Thursday, and this is when I'm supposed to edit the video, working at 3:30, and well, we had business today. I had to change my computer monitor setup because I found another television that actually makes a great monitor, so I switched. It's a long story, and the HDMI didn't work, and I had to figure out, blah, blah, blah. Long story is the short story. The short story is that I'm still at this, and Elliot, it's working. Yes, we got a bridge there. You can see that all the panels are in and pretty flat to each other. This bent pretty well. It's a little off, but it's hardy. It really is hardy, and it's working out really well. So I'm doing the subdeck now, and the subdeck is what is supported by, I believe you said the screen faces this way. This goes onto here, and then we have the railing. Now, I'm not sure what the flooring is. I think you gave me a ring to fit inside there. I don't know. I can't remember. Somewhere in here is a deck of some sort. Maybe it's here. I don't know. I think that is it. Let's see. Okay, sometimes I just have a brain clog. Of course, this is not the floor. This one here. It is the top. Now, here's the floor. So, and of course, this faces the screen that fits beautifully over this. Okay, like so. And then this beautifully goes like this. And I think the holes I'm seeing there are for chairs or something, but you get the idea here. get this lined up just right. Beautiful job, Elliot, as always. God, Elliot, this is incredible. I just have to do one thing really quick. So yes, I did indeed find these other railings, and they work out perfectly. You know, sometimes you just have to get hold of yourself, but you can see right there how well those are going to work out. I just temporarily tacked that one on. It's going to work great. This is really going to be fabulous. This makes a great bridge. Thanks so much, Elliot. This is just making my life so much easier. I'll zoom in a little bit here. We're about to lose the battery, so I'm going to very quickly turn this camera on me here while I still can and say thank you so much for supporting us through these difficult times. While, as I said today on the Facebook page, I am now on my Social Security and my SAG pension, and that's what's basically paying the rent and putting food in my belly and keeping gas in the car. But to keep this place going and the doors open right now until some projects come in, and there are ones up the road we're very hopeful for, we need your support. Please go to our website and go to Friends of Steve Neill's Garage, and you can hit the support page there and choose to either support us directly, SNG, or this project to build the enterprise. And you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week for more fun, maybe a selfie on Saturday.